So you've learned to code. Maybe you've watched a few tutorials online or even taken some online courses, but now you're thinking to yourself, what do I do now? Don't worry, this is actually very common and a question that I get asked a lot. So in this video, I'm going to tell you exactly what you should do if you want to keep growing, land some more opportunities, and stay motivated with coding. Let's go ahead and get into it. So my name is Azo. I've been coding for over 10 years and I've held different tech industry jobs. For over 8 years, I've held positions like a software quality assurance engineer, software engineer, data engineer, and other various types of things within data analytics space. So the first thing that you'll need to do after learning to code is you'll actually have to start building real world projects by yourself. All right, that is the key right there, by yourself. The first step is to really just start small and build something real that is usable first. Something like the Common To Do app, but doing it by yourself, a weather app, or even some type of website, right? Then once you've completed some of the smaller projects, then you move on to more complex projects and real world problems that meet your personal interests or just things that you are trying to get into. It's going to help reinforce your knowledge of coding and help you maneuver coding challenges whenever they may occur. Some things that a coding tutorial will not be able to teach you. All right. And then after that, kind of add new features as you grow. If you've done a calculator, I've said this before, make it into a scientific calculator. Or let's say you've done a tutorial on how to make a website, add more functionality, maybe login, authentication, use different APIs within that website to pull different data, display different things. You can always do that to kind of transform your previous tutorial projects that you've learned and make them more complex and learn more skills within that subsection. So the next thing you can do is start with open source contributions. So open source is actually a goldmine for actually learning and networking with other developers on a related task or related goal. Even if it's something small as just documentation, you'll still be able to put your name out there and kind of get within that community, especially as a beginner. So there are different things, and I spoke about this in my GitHub video, but there are a lot of projects on GitHub that will say something along the lines of good first issue or beginner friendly issue, and you can kind of go and tackle those and kind of get some insight from other developers and the maintainers and kind of working with other people, which is a really good skill as well, especially if you're looking for some type of job in software or that involves coding. You will need to be collaborating. So this is a good kind of step in the door to kind of seeing what that looks like. Always, look for opportunities for some open source contributions and try to add your name to those projects and learn from others. So the next thing that I'll suggest is actually create a portfolio website. This will essentially be your digital resume. So this will highlight your best projects. We'll talk about writing, your coding journey, how you came across this coding journey. So you can have your projects, and then you can have like an about me and kind of going through how you started your coding journey and really showcase your skills, your all around skills. So you can show like your writing skills, obviously your coding skills and the projects that you've done, and a whole bunch of other skills, and kind of sharing a part about you. So even if employers just so happen to stumble on it or anything like that, they will get a sense of knowing who you are before they even speak to you. So I always recommend creating a portfolio website. What I will caution you with on this, don't get too caught up with making everything spick and span and perfect. You'll be reworking a lot of stuff at first. Get you a basic kind of templated website, get you some text on there, get your projects listed, and then you can kind of change it up, make things more dynamic, make things cooler. Unless you're already at that point where you can make super cool dynamic websites, then go ahead and do your thing. You know what I'm saying? So you can have clear projects that you've worked on there. You can have live demos. You can have links to your code that's hosted on GitHub or Bitbucket or any of those other platforms that host your repositories and things like that. And like I said, having a blog section or a not a contact, but like an about me section that can kind of just, share what you've learned about coding, your insights, your thoughts on coding, why you started, things like that can also set you apart from the rest. The next thing is going to be start networking with other developers. This is crazy as far as what it can do to your growth and your knowledge and even your opportunities. Coding has this misconception, maybe not anymore, but it has this misconception of being a very isolated role, just sitting at your computer and just coding away. With not engaging with anybody. I can honestly say that my biggest opportunities have come when I've actually engaged with other people in general, specifically in the professional workplace, developers, whoever may be, data analytics, even business people. So I would suggest or recommend, highly recommend, to join some type of tech community, right? You can join communities on X or Twitter, Reddit, LinkedIn. I'm in a couple ones on LinkedIn, Discord with other developers, anything. You know, you can follow my IG if you want. It's at Zazo Codes. I always try to post things that are helpful for everybody to know, just so like it's not always my original content, but other people's content that I think is helpful and very good for others to know. So just being kind of like ingrained in a social community of developers will help you a lot as well. So after that, you're going to want to learn beyond the basics. So once you're comfortable with kind of the basics and you have a really deep and foundational solid understanding of, you know, your normal concepts and kind of got that together, move on to more advanced concepts like data structures and algorithms, system design, performance optimization as a whole. These are very big concepts and they are used a lot, and the knowledge of them are very useful in a workplace, even doing your own projects. So you won't have to like master them right away or anything like that, but definitely introducing these things into your learning is going to make you that much better of a developer in the long run. There's things like, you know, leak code that will help you with data structures and algorithm. There's a bunch of different things that can help you with system design as well and performance optimization. All right, excuse me. So the next thing is practice interviews, especially if you want to work a job. Even if you're not actively job hunting, practicing those technical interviews can definitely sharpen your problem solving skills on the spot. So a lot of the things that a lot of people can do is isolated in a vacuum, they can solve a bunch of problems. But in an interview setting, when pressures are kind of high and, you know, they're not really in the same mindset as when they're isolated by themselves and they can kind of just figure anything out. Being in an interview is a different environment and it can be very stressful. There could be a lot of pressure and things like that. So you want to definitely get in the mind frame and kind of know the difference between coding and solving problems when I'm chilling, just, you know, doing my thing, and solving an actual problem when the pressure is on, I have people watching me and that kind of thing. This is something that I say struggle with, but there's like a thing of when somebody's watching you doing something, it makes you less effective doing that thing. Whereas if I would have done it 15 minutes beforehand, I would have finished it in like 15 minutes, but now I'm spending like a whole bunch of time mumbling and fumbling over stuff. So if you want a job, practice interviews. If you have somebody, you know, that's close to you, that lives with you or anything like that, ask them to ask you interview questions, things like system design questions or anything like that. And then you can also practice, you know, your actual coding type questions, data structures and algorithms, things like that on LeetCode, HackerRank, and CodeSignal. This is very good to kind of match up your behavioral and your technical in a high pressure situation. So definitely do that as well. But the last thing is probably, I feel like it's one of the most important things, and it's going to be share what you learn. So as you can see, I'm trying to do the same exact thing. By you actually sharing what you learn and teaching others, you are essentially really cementing everything that you know, because you have to be able to understand it in the simplest form in order to explain it to others. So Share what you learn, because that's kind of one of the fastest ways to learn, right? You can do that in multiple different formats. If video is not your thing, you can always share it you can write a blog, you can, do LinkedIn posts. I see a lot of people doing LinkedIn posts and kind of sharing their different things. You can post about coding tips on social media, whatever platform is more comfortable with you. And even doing something like this and creating YouTube content, you just got to find the medium for what is best for you, how you can kind of explain your thoughts the best way possible. A lot of people can write and can really explain a lot of things really well and really detailed in text. Some people are good at making videos. That's not saying I'm good at making videos. That's just saying that some people are. And there's a whole bunch of different ways to kind of share your journey and, share what you learn. But that's going to be one of the best ways to not only help others, but to also help yourself. So remember, learning to code is literally just the beginning of your journey. What you do after is kind of what defines you as a software engineer. Keep building and keep contributing, and most importantly, have fun solving problems with code. All right, this is gonna be the end of the video. Go ahead and like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave me a comment. Let me know what you are doing after you've learned code, or what you did after you learned code that made you a better developer. Love, peace, and chicken grease. I'm out.